Wife paid doctor millions to end her husband in a coma, and the unexpected happened next.
So, Linda gave you $2 million to inject me to death? His voice was low but filled with controlled rage. The doctor nodded. She made the first payment, $1 million. The rest was after the job was done. A bitter chuckle escaped his lips. Unbelievable. My own wife, the woman I loved, wanted me dead like I was nothing. One of his friends slammed a hand on the chair. This is beyond betrayal. We can't let her get away with this. Another leaned in, his voice tense. If we confront her now, she'll deny everything. We need her to expose herself completely. James exhaled, running a hand over his face. Then we play along. Let her believe the plan worked. I need to see just how deep this goes. The doctor hesitated. Are you sure about this? What if she takes another step? James's eyes darkened. Then I'll be waiting. James sat up, his face unreadable. So, we make it real? Chris nodded. The only way to catch her is to let her think she's won. Mark leaned in. We'll arrange everything. A death certificate, a mortuary entry. She'll believe you're gone for good. David smirked. And once she lets her guard down, we strike. The doctor sighed. This is risky, but if it gets you the truth, I'll make the arrangements. James clenched his jaw. Do it. Let's see how deep her betrayal goes. Afternoon sunlight streamed through Linda's window as her phone rang. She picked it up, seeing David's name flashing on the screen. Her heart pounded. Linda. Hello, David. Any news? A heavy sigh came from the other end. David. Linda. I don't know how to say this. James didn't make it. He passed away this morning. Linda's breath hitched. Her hands trembled. Linda. What? No. No. That's not possible. Her legs wobbled as she clutched the table for support. David. I saw him myself. His body is in the mortuary now. Linda's throat dried up. She never expected it to happen this fast. Linda's heart pounded as she struggled to grasp the weight of David's words. For a moment, everything felt surreal, like she was in a nightmare. Linda. It can't be. David. I'm sorry, Linda. I'm here if you need anything, okay? But you need to come to the hospital. The mortuary's waiting for you. Linda swallowed hard, forcing her breath to steady. Linda. I'll be there. I need to see him. I'll be on my way soon. As the call ended, Linda sat still for a moment, the shock fading into a deep sense of satisfaction. Her plan had worked. James was out of the picture, and now there was nothing standing in her way. Her smile spread slowly across her face, a twisted sense of triumph bubbling up inside her. She had done it. She had won. After ending the call with David, she quickly dialed Daniel's number, her side lover. The phone rang a few times before he answered. It's done, she said, her voice barely containing the satisfaction. He's gone. David confirmed it. He's in the mortuary now. There was a moment of silence on the other end, and then a low laugh. No way. It's really over? Daniel's voice was laced with disbelief, followed by a dark chuckle. We actually pulled it off. Yes, she replied, her smile creeping across her face. It worked exactly how we planned. No more secrets, no more hiding. It's finally over. Daniel's voice grew more serious. You sure there's no way this could backfire? We can't afford any slip-ups. I'll keep everything in check, she assured him. I'll make sure no one suspects a thing. This is our moment. After ending the call with Daniel, she took a deep breath and dialed the doctor's number. Her voice was calm, but filled with satisfaction. Well done. You did exactly what I needed, she said smoothly. She quickly processed the remaining payment and sent the final N1 million. A few moments later, she received a confirmation message. "It's done. Enjoy your money," she added before ending the call. A sly smile spread across her face. Everything was falling perfectly into place, just as she had planned. The life she had longed for was now within her grasp, and she couldn't wait to see what came next. She straightened herself, collected her thoughts, and made her way out, knowing that things would never be the same again. As soon as she arrived at the hospital, she burst through the doors, her wails echoing through the hallway. Tears streamed down her face as she clutched her chest, gasping for air. "No, this can't be happening," she sobbed. "I need to see him. Let me see my husband." The doctor and James's friends stood nearby, their faces solemn. One of them placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Linda, please, be strong. This is hard for all of us." She fell to her knees, shaking her head violently. "I should have been here. I should have done something." The doctor sighed. "It happened so fast." "We did everything we could." She sniffled, her face buried in her hands. "I need to see him. Take me to the mortuary." The friends exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable. "Linda, it's not a good idea right now," one of them said gently. "I don't care," she screamed. "I have to see him with my own eyes." Meanwhile, James had already left the hospital hours before she arrived. He was safely staying at his friend's house, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal the truth. "You need to calm down," one of them said. "Crying won't bring him back." She sniffled, wiping fake tears from her face. I need to see him one last time." Another friend placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "The mortuary isn't allowing visitors today. It's best if you rest." Her lips trembled as she nodded weakly. "Take me home, please." They guided her out of the hospital, supporting her as if she might collapse. As they drove, she kept up her act, sobbing, gasping for air, while deep inside, she felt victorious. After they left, Linda took a deep breath, wiped her tears, and immediately picked up her phone. She dialed Daniel's number. Linda glanced around to make sure she was alone. "We need to start selling some of James's properties. There's no point in letting them sit there." Daniel's tone turned serious. "Smart move. But how do we do it without raising suspicion?" Linda smirked. "Leave that to me. His friends won't suspect a thing." She leaned back, already imagining a future without obstacles. Meanwhile, on the other side, Linda had no idea that Daniel had his own plans. As soon as he ended the call, a sly grin spread across his face. "Selling James's properties?" he muttered. "Perfect." He already had buyers lined up, but Linda wouldn't see a single dime. "She thinks we're in this together," he chuckled to himself. "But once I get the money, she's next." Linda believed she was in control, but the real game had just begun, one she never saw coming. Daniel planned to convince Linda to transfer all of James's assets into his name for an easy sale. Once she did, he would disappear with the money, leaving her with nothing. By the time she realized the betrayal, it would be too late. Daniel would be long gone. James had been watching everything unfold through the hidden cameras, his patience unwavering. He saw Linda's calls, her scheming with Daniel, and even the moment she sent the final payment to the doctor. But he remained silent, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, when Linda would least expect it. One afternoon, Daniel knocked on the door, and Linda quickly let him in, locking it behind him. "We need to move fast," she whispered, glancing around cautiously. Daniel smirked. "Have you checked which properties are in James's name? We can't afford mistakes." Linda grinned. "I have everything, his house, his cars, even some land." Once we sell them, we disappear for good. Daniel leaned closer. Good. But we have to be smart. His friends might start asking questions. Linda scoffed. Please, they think I'm a grieving widow. They even brought me home to rest. They're clueless. Daniel chuckled. Then let's act fast. I already have a buyer for one of his houses. Linda's eyes lit up. Perfect. Let's finalize the deal immediately. Just as Linda and Daniel were deep in their discussion, the door suddenly burst open. A commanding voice rang out. Nobody move! Linda gasped, spinning around to see James's friends, Mark, Chris, and David, standing beside two police officers. Her heart stopped. Daniel jumped up. What the? James's voice cut through the air like a blade. So, this is how you plan to erase me, Linda? Linda froze, her face drained of color. James? He stepped forward, very much alive. Surprised? You thought I was dead, didn't you? Linda stumbled back. No, this isn't possible. The doctor said... Chris scoffed. The doctor was part of the plan. We saw everything, Linda. David held up a phone. Your calls, your meetings, even your payments, all recorded. The police officer stepped forward. Linda and Daniel, you're under arrest for conspiracy and attempted murder. Linda's legs gave out. No, this can't be happening. Daniel cursed under his breath, raising his hands. You set us up. The handcuffs clicked, sealing their fate. James, please, He shook his head. I trusted you with my life, and you chose greed over love. You wanted me gone like I was nothing. Tears streamed down Linda's face. I made a mistake, James scoffed. No, Linda. You made a choice. James turned to the officers, his voice firm. Take them away. They need to answer for everything they've done. Linda's eyes widened. James, please. I can explain. She struggled as the officers grabbed her. Daniel scoffed, shaking his head. This wasn't supposed to happen. One officer tightened his grip on Daniel. Well, it did. As they were led away, James exhaled deeply. Justice. Finally. His friends patted his back. It's over now, James. James let out a deep breath, glancing at his friends. We did it. She fell right into the trap. Chris grinned. It was a risky game, but we played it well. Mark chuckled. I still can't believe she thought she won. James nodded, his eyes filled with relief. I loved her, but she chose betrayal. Now she'll face the consequences. Linda and Daniel were found guilty of conspiracy and attempted murder. The court sentenced them both to several years in prison. Linda's tears and pleas for mercy couldn't change the outcome. Justice had been served. James, finally free from betrayal, focused on rebuilding his life. With the support of his loyal friends, he healed from the pain Linda had caused. Years later, he met a kind and loving woman who brought true happiness into his life. They got married and built a peaceful home together, free from lies and deception. James had learned a valuable lesson. True love is built on trust, not betrayal. What have you learned from this story? Please drop your comment, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. New story coming up soon.